Does that work? Okay, thank you. Thumbs up. Thank you. All right, good evening, parents. Good evening. Good evening. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can see me. It looks like we are continuing to have families enter. I think since I've said good evening the first time, we've had about 7 families enter. So we will, as we introduce ourselves, go ahead and let Mr. Doyne and our interpreters explain the instructions for getting into the interpreted rooms. We want all families to participate and be able to hear and understand the information. So, Mr. Doyne, you can cut in with another reminder. It looks like we have about 10 more families.
Yes, ma'am. And the instructions are also in the chat further up. To find, I'll say it first in English, to find the interpretation option, we do have our Spanish and Vietnamese interpreters here. Thank you to them. You'll look for the globe icon on your screen, click that and click whichever language you would want, and then you might want to select mute original audio so the interpreter's audio will be more clear for you. Entonces, si quiere escuchar esta reunión en español, va a buscar el icono del mundo o del globo. Y después va a seleccionar su idioma preferido y quizás va a ser una idea buena para poner en silencio el audio original para que pueda escuchar el idioma preferido más claro.
And then, Mr. Doyne, if you could also just give another reminder about the annotation, like just be careful with that. I don't know what to say about that, but
Okay, yes. So, si puede tener cuidado con la opción para anotar en la pantalla. A veces hay como hay marcas en la pantalla por accidente, probablemente. Si nos podría ayudar a evitar eso.
All right. And Mr. Doyne, do you remember who the first parent to log in?
Oh, wow.
Who was our first family to log in?
Oh, man.
If you were the first family to log in, when you logged in, no one else was in the chat or in the session. Put your name in the chat, please. We're trying to identify the family who was here first.
Thanks for taking me off the hook there, Dr.
I figured we didn't organize that. All right, so welcome. Bienvenidos. We are so happy you're here tonight. We know that your time is very busy, but we think it's very important to talk directly to our 8th grade students. We always spend a lot of time with our 6th graders, helping them to get ready for middle school. But what we realized this past summer is that we're missing a big opportunity to speak to our 8th grade families, because high school is just as scary as it was when your students were coming into middle school, and you don't want to make a misstep. So we want to make sure that you're as prepared as you can be by starting now. We do not want to wait until May to start talking about Carnegie units or December to start talking about Carnegie units. We want to talk about it now so that all of our 8th grade families understand what it's going to take to get to high school successfully, and then some of the choices that you'll have along the way. So I have the experts in the room. Right now, we have one of our assistant principals. She is working to get herself online, Mrs. Cooks. She is one of the half of the 8th grade assistant principal team. Mr. Brogdon is also on the call, and we have Miss Berger. She's the 8th grade counselor. So 3 experts in the room, and you're going to hear directly from them later on. So just a quick activity. If you have an 8th grade friend, a family of an 8th grade student that you know they're not on this call, send them a quick text and say, hey, you're about to miss some really good information. Just let them know they can join in on this conversation. All right, those who remember our last session, hopefully you remember from your time with me in middle school. I am Dr. Irish. I am the proud principal of Lilburn, and my plan is to support you as you support your students this school year. Okay, so we have a quick activity to think about. I was thinking that tonight we're going to give a lot of advice, and I'm just curious to hear from you. What was the best advice that you have ever been given? What is the best advice that you've ever been given? And interpreters, I hope this is 100% accurate. I'm learning and doing my best. But let me know if there's anything there. But put in the chat what your best advice. If you want to unmute and tell us, I would love to hear it. So it looks like we have one. Miss Wilgreen says, work smarter, not harder. I've heard that one. I know I've heard that one too, trying to think how to make things more efficient. And as we get older and our time gets, it seems like our time gets less time, you definitely want to work smarter. Dulce heard, step up to the challenge. Be bold and be brave, step up to the challenge. Javeria, I heard that one as well. Work today for tomorrow. I think that's work today for a better tomorrow. I've heard that one also. How many have heard the one, if you have nothing nice to say, say nothing at all? I know my mother, we were very opinionated growing up, and my mom would always tell me, you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Ask questions and get answers. I love that one, Anna. And one day at a time. I love that. Okay, so if you think of any, share it, because some of us may get something that you put in there and then share it out. And I think there's one, terminar siempre lo que inicias. Okay, doing.
Finish what you start. Yeah, always finish what you start.
Always finish what you start. Okay, so some great advice. And you know what I love is that whatever language the advice was in, it pretty much means the same thing. So all of us were hearing the same thing as we were growing up of how to be better people. All right, so and you will hear some pretty good advice from our 8th grade folks. And hopefully after tonight, some of the best advice you've ever heard will come from one of these 3. All right, so some quick highlights before we begin. We always start with some reminders. We do have prizes. I know some of us are here for the prizes. We want to win. Tonight is not so competitive. You will earn prizes just from being naturally awesome. All right, and I'll explain it later what that means. Okay, so interpreters, translators, we do need cues from you if I'm going too fast or you need a moment, or if you're having technical issues. So I don't know what that could be. Maybe they can put in the chat if there's any issues going on in your room, and then we will stop and make sure everyone can be included. All right, just a reminder, our theme this year is impact. We're trying to make sure that all of our students understand that they are powerful and they will have an impact on others throughout their journey through school this year and throughout their lives. But we are making sure the adults are intentional about having a positive impact on our students. So impact is our theme this school year. We had a great pep rally. I wanted to showcase this picture. I have pictures, and I will share those with Mr. Doyne to put in the weekly newsletter. But this one really summed it up. I know it's not in a classroom, it's not necessarily instructional, but it does speak to our school community. That we had, I think it was 250 students who chose to participate at each grade level, and they had a great time. Our athletes were well respected and cheered on. The adults participated. It really was a great way of seeing our school come together and just kick off our athletic season. So just wanted to share a picture from our pep rally. And we'll have other activities coming up as we have other seasons opening up. We will have basketball next. Right now we're in the volleyball and cross country seasons. So we're celebrating those athletes, and then we will celebrate the other athletes later this year. But just wanted to share that picture with you that our students had a great time and really just got to see what volleyball was all about. All right, so just a reminder that everything we do will be in one of 2 categories. We will help your students with supportive community measures. So we're going to make sure that we are thinking about how to be kind, good citizens of the school and the world. But we're also going to make sure that they are getting all the skills they need to have the opportunities that we all want for them. Okay, so we're focusing on 2 categories all throughout our school year. Wanted to share some important dates. If probably a good approach would be just to take a picture of this slide so that way you can reference it later. We do have some pretty important things coming up, some that there really is no action that you need to do, but just be aware of. And then there are other timelines that you should plan to take action. So the first is that we are in the process of our Teacher of the Year nomination process. And this is a great time to celebrate our teachers. You will see social media postings coming out of our finalists. You'll see announcements made of the winner. It's a really exciting time for our instructional staff. And we have some pretty good nominees who are always selected every year. So we're looking forward to that process, and we do want our community to be aware of that. It's just really exciting to see if one of your children's teachers will be selected to be a finalist or even win. All right. Sports are going on. I just mentioned that. We do have volleyball and cross country happening right now. Even if your child is not playing in one of those sports, our students really love to have people come and just cheer them on. They get so excited, and it's just really neat to watch their faces light up when they see, oh, you're here. And I think it makes them perform better. So even if you just put it on Mustang spirit wear and go to support some students, we do publish the games. I believe cross country is on the calendar. I'm sure volleyball is as well, but you can check our school calendar and see when the games are and where they are, and you're welcome to come and cheer us on. Just a reminder about rides. We've done really, really well with volleyball. And I know we're going to do just as well with cross country. If your student goes to watch the game, we call that spectating. Make sure, or if they're in the game or meet, make sure that they have a ride to be picked up on time. So speak to the coach, check on the website. We want to make sure they are safe. And sometimes where the games are held are so large that they may be somewhere on the campus and, we don't know they're there because it's at a high school or somewhere else. So make sure that they have a ride arranged to pick them up on time, check the calendar, and the times are published there as well. And concessions, sometimes they're really hungry. If they're going, just send them with a little bit of change to participate in the snacking that happens as well. And the snacking actually helps the sporting teams. All right, so iReady testing, this one is really important. Every year, probably for the past 3 years, we have tested students on their ability as it relates to reading and math. Some of our students know that this is not necessarily for a grade, and so they don't put that much effort into it. But we do a lot of work around what the results show for iReady testing. This will be next week for 4 days of next week. They'll have 2 days of reading assessment and then 2 days of math. We need them to really try as hard as they can on these assessments, because if they rush through or they really don't try, then what will happen is that we will build in some supports for them based on the results. So it could be that we're giving them extra classes during connections time or in the morning during ELT, and they really didn't need it. So let them know, show off what they know. This is a great time to show off what they know so that we do not give them help that is unnecessary, because they get frustrated if we're pulling them and they really don't need to be pulled. All right. Labor Day is coming up. That is a district-wide holiday. So just mark your calendar that we don't have school on Labor Day, and make preparations for your child. I know middle school children are old enough to be, for the most part, be home alone, but we do like when there is a plan in place for them, right, Ms. Berger, of productivity during the day. So just think of what can happen for your child. I know there's not really daycare or anything like that, but that is a day home. ELT, that is what I just talked about. After they do the iReady testing, we will have something called ELT, and that's extended learning time. And that's where we start the support for students who show that they need the support on the iReady testing. So, and there's other things that we look at, but the iReady testing is a really important part, and all of the help will start on September 3rd. If we begin that help and you notice that your child is not scheduled for anything in particular, and you think they should be, reach out to, in this case, it would be Ms. Berger, your grade level counselor, and she can look into, seeing what's going on. Book fair, I started typing the date. I don't know what happened. I'll have to put that in the chat, but the book fair is coming up. I believe it's the second week after the second week in September. So we'll get the dates out to you, but the book fair is coming up very soon. Our students are very excited about the book fair. Usually we sell out of some items, and usually some students will go and then be disappointed because they can't participate. So if it is possible for your family, for your child to participate, just mark your calendar and send them with a budget and some money so that they can participate in the book fair. All right, Digital Learning Day is another time where students are home. That's on September 20th, but they are learning. So this is a time where as the parent, we just need your help to make sure they have a quiet place to get online to do their work. They will have work. It won't be a live session, but there will be enough work for them to do during the day. So we will have work for them to do on September 20th, and the teachers will be available to answer questions. So students will get those instructions on how to email teachers and get help if they need it. Okay, just a reminder, last session we spoke about Fan Night or Fan. It is replacing APTT from last year. And so I think, Mr. Doyne, you probably mentioned that too. But it is on September 25th for 6th grade and September 26th for 7th and 8th grade. We ask for all parents to come out, even if you think your child is doing great. We want you to come out to hear the information. We will show you the results from the iReady testing on that night and teach you some strategies that you can use to help to address what's in the results. Fall break is October 10th through 14th. And I always make sure, because sometimes there's confusion about, do we come back on the 14th, or so they come back to school on the 15th. All right. And then, of course, early release days, that's where we can have conferences with our families to talk about progress and how students are doing the school during the school year. Okay, so this looks like a lot on the screen, but I'm just going to tell you the most important parts of it. On September 16th, students will begin to get charged for lunch. So we have the majority, I think we're like 87% who have completed the free and reduced lunch application. We have 11% of families who were free or reduced last year who have not done the application yet. And that's fine if the situation changed and you feel like you no longer need it. We are, however, asking all families to complete it, even if you get screened out and if you're not eligible. But if you are eligible and you didn't realize you were, then that is a great opportunity for your family. But we also want to make sure that there are no surprises on September 16th. Every year when it turns back onto full pay, we have some children who are surprised, like, I'm being charged. So we want to make sure that you are prepared and you know September 16th, make sure you do the free and reduced lunch application before that point. And I'm gonna pause here because I see some activity going on in the chat. Do we have questions?
Yes, ma'am. There were two parents that were asking about finding the Spanish interpretation. So I'll just go ahead and mention that now. So para encontrar la interpretación para esta reunión, va a buscar el icono del globo o mundo en su pantalla y después va a seleccionar español.
Okay, and there was a question about PSAT, and that according to Mrs. Berger, PSAT is held in the spring. So there will be information that comes out, and we will have a lot of training for the students so they will know all about the PSAT. Okay, we have already given out supplies to students, but we want your feedback, parents. If you feel like the supplies were not what you needed or children needed, please message us through, Mr. Doyne, I'm tempted to say your name. I know that's a lot of emails. You know what, maybe we can put a survey out through the newsletter asking, or you can do a poll right now if you want to, just asking, were the supplies sufficient for families? All right, and students have received their device. We're just reminding you of the device care. There is a sign-off process showing that you understand that the district has changed the fees. So it really is important to make sure that your student is taking care of that device. I think a replacement is $200. And so we definitely want to make sure our students are keeping up with their device and taking care of their device. And then just make sure that you have updated contact information. We did look, and we do have quite a number of families that have no number in the system, or the number is disconnected. And that sounds like a really peaceful school year, but it's really also nerve-wracking, because we want to make sure that we can reach you if there's an emergency or if there is an urgent need, or sometimes it's a really positive thing and we're trying to get a hold of the family and we have no number. So make sure you reach out, and the school has contact information for you. Okay. We will send this out again, promotion criteria. Remember, 70 or higher. That's the number we're looking for. We want students to have a 70 or higher, but 70 is the minimum. That means that's the lowest we're expecting. You are encouraged, and you're going to hear a little bit about this later. We're encouraging you to set goals with your student that are higher than 70, but anything below 70 means that we are not on track for promotion. And tonight you'll hear why that's important. Okay, another photo opportunity. You can get your phone out and take a picture of this slide. This was shared back in July when we had our first session. But just remember, we have some forms for you to sign off that are coming straight from the district and some from our school. The due date is September 16th. That is tomorrow. And included in that is the handbook, our student handbook. We did talk to students this week, and they must sign off by tomorrow. I talked to you about APTT night. And then finally, your first progress report for your child will come home on September 12th. And we're going to be sending it home every 2 weeks. So look out for that through your student. Okay, so just a reminder, sign off on the student handbook. We want to make sure you know the expectations, and then let us know if you have any questions. All right. Or is anyone on the 8th grade team prepared to talk about this? If not, I can. It's just from the coaches. Nope. Okay. All right. So the coaches have asked us to share that for Gear Up students, if your child is a Gear Up student, that there is a uniform for them to participate in health and PE or PE. The uniform costs $25. There is a QR code there for you to get started with your order. That was given to us just a few moments before we presented. So if you have questions, please reach out to the coaches, but they did ask us to share this information with our families, specifically those who are Gear Up students. All right, and here it is in Spanish. Okay, so we're about to move into our guest speakers presentation. We do have just a few more updates. We want to let you know something that we did share with our students, that we now have a pretty easy to understand flow chart. What we realized is that there are 13 rules in Gwinnett that students have to follow. There's so many different things to keep up with. We just simplified it for our students to be able to have the best year that they can have. And just like if your child plays a sport or video games, it really is helpful if they know the rules before the activity. So we are explaining to our students as much as we can how we all can make sure that we have a great learning environment at school. We are focused on learning this year. We are focused on excellence. And so to do that, we want to make sure that we don't have bad situations that happen that take us all off track. All right, or making mistakes that we don't realize the severity of it. So we're doing a really a lot of work to make sure that we explain to our students the expectations and help them to be as successful as possible. This is another photo opportunity. You're welcome to take a picture. But this is the flow chart we follow to show you that when mistakes happen, we generally ask our teachers to walk through a system that is like progressive, so that students are not just automatically earning referrals or automatically earning consequences. We do want to let you know that there are some pretty severe infractions that the district says is a referral. It's just an automatic referral. But for the most part, our students, we understand they're in middle school and we're working with them to help them to learn the best behavior. We want to point out to you that at step 5, this is where I know that we say all year, we're a team, and I know that you see on every step there is parent phone call so that you're informed and you know what may happen. But on step 5, that's where we're asking for your help, because step 5 is the step before a referral happens. So we don't have many students who get to that point, but if that should happen, then we'll come together with a conference or definitely at least a phone call to talk through some ideas for what we can do to help every child to be successful. And again, this doesn't apply when we look at our discipline data. We have less than 5% of students who have ever earned a consequence. So 95% of our students are coming to school making great choices, but we know they're in middle school and sometimes there's some learning that has to happen. But if that happens, just know that that we will work through that together. All right. So now, Mr. Doyne, you can jump in. We do have some updates from the Parent Center or Family Engagement Center, and then we have our presenters up next.
Thanks, Dr. Irish. So yes, so next Thursday, we've had this a few times. A lot of our meetings, and I'll take some responsibility for this for sure, are directed more towards our English and our Spanish speakers, because that's really what makes up most of our families. But we want to make sure that every parent, as Dr. Irish said earlier in this meeting, can access the information and can understand that everyone is every single family is a part of our team. So even if your language isn't being mentioned today, I don't know if you're going to understand what I'm saying, but we'd love to hear from you, because there are ways to make sure that we can help you understand what the expectations are and how to be involved in your child's education. But we do have our third most popular language, third most spoken language at our school is Vietnamese. So I'm excited that Dr. Irish, with the support of Ms. Hien from the district office, will be hosting this coffee with the principal next Thursday at 8 a.m. That's for our Vietnamese families. I don't think we would turn anybody away if they came, if they're not Vietnamese, but it will be in Vietnamese and English, the meeting, to talk about different things related to the school, but in a language that our Vietnamese families can understand. Also, next Thursday, I think we have some PTSA officers in this meeting. Next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. in our cafeteria. This is in person. This is the first meeting of its kind that we're going to have, as we are at the beginning of the year. We're looking for families that are interested in helping out. As we say, many hands make light work. So if we all can do a little bit to support the school, it'll only benefit our students and those that are supporting them, like the teachers and administrators and counselors. So please show up next Thursday to our cafeteria at 6:30 p.m. if you are interested in lending a hand, wherever that might be. And there are so many different ways to support the school. Also, I'll put the link in the chat here in a little bit. We do have quite a few people that have joined the PTSA, but we could definitely use a lot more. PTSA, of course, is the Parent Teacher Student Association, and it's $8 per year. And there's no commitment to help out. Just your $8 contribution will help support the school. Also, I think a lot of our families have downloaded and used the Parent Square app, but we'd like to get that number up even higher. So if you have not yet downloaded the Parent Square app, I think is very useful, and it translates for us. So you can use that to communicate with your child's teachers and get communications from the school in the language of your choice. And then Parent View is the app where you can make sure you are keeping track of your child's progress. So please download that app as well, and you can see grades, attendance, discipline, report card history, bus number. Lots of information will be on the Parent View app and the corresponding website of Parent View. I do send out the weekly newsletter on Sundays. Hopefully you find that useful. Sometimes I think there might be a lot of information in there, and I try to make it in a user-friendly format. I would love some feedback on that. But just check that out on Sundays to have a good view of what's coming up at Lilburn Middle School. And then another calendar item we have on September the 19th, Thursday, September the 19th. It may be outside, depending on weather. It might be in the gym like last year. But we are having our annual Hispanic Heritage Celebration at the beginning of Hispanic Heritage Month. So we'll have music and food and dancing, and we would love for you to participate. Either just come, show up in some traditional attire, bring some food, but look out for some messages. I think I've already sent out a couple to invite you to participate, to represent perhaps your family's country of heritage, or just to come enjoy. So it's always a fun time, and we'll have quite a bit of student participation that evening as well. So that's all I have right now, Dr. Irish.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Doyen. And I think someone is Fermina. So Fermina stating it's a general meeting. I don't know if that was a question or a correction.
So yes, so thank you. So and I do know this parent, Miss Fermina. Thank you for joining. Gracias por venir. So the meeting, and I'll let our interpreter John interpret for us. But the meeting next Thursday is, as she mentioned, our first PTSA general meeting. But as a major part of this general meeting, we are going to talk about volunteer opportunities for the school year. And there are some people asking, this is at least the third or fourth person that I've seen that have asked this question about, I've applied, but I have not seen the response. So there is a website that anybody can log into, and you just put your child's information in there or the confirmation number of your lunch application, and you can see if the application has already been approved. So I'll just put that in the chat right now for the free or reduced price meals.
Thank you, Mr. Doyen. That's really helpful. And we will summarize this and send it out in the newsletter as well. Okay, so now we want to talk about Mustangs leading the way. And so I'm going to pass it to our 8th grade team. They have a lot of great information to share with you. So I don't know who's going first, but let's get your slides up.
Well, good afternoon, Lilburn Mustang family. On behalf of the 8th grade team, I want to wish you a warm welcome to 8th grade, an official welcome from the 8th grade leadership team. I'm Angela Cooks. We have our other administrator on. I'll let him introduce himself, our counselor, and we have lots of teachers on as well. So.
Real quick, just to kind of do a quick introduction, like Ms. Cook said, I'm Mr. Brogdon, other 8th grade assistant principal, and also Gear Up as well. So I cover both parties.
All right, so in the way of introductions, I guess we've already said that I was thinking that Ms. Berger was going to have say hello to us, but she has some information she'll share later on. So again, those are our nice little pictures up there. I'm Angela Cooks. We have Mr. Zach Brogdon. Michelle Berger is our counselor, and we have the wonderful Tabitha Alfaro, who's our academy clerk. And we are just so happy to serve you this 2024-25 school year. So the teams that I support, we have a dream team up in 8th grade who are all committed and just eager and excited to support your students and their academics and SEL as well this year. So I support teams, team 8A, 8B, 8D. Mr. Brogdon has team C, F, G, and we both have a shared responsibility with Gear Up. Here's a kind of a nice little chart that kind of shows how large our team is. Hopefully you had an opportunity to come out to open house and meet the teachers. But if not, and you know your homeroom teacher, you probably see those names up there. We won't take this time right now to go through all of that because that's kind of long, but there is our team made up of our ELA, math, science, social studies, our support teachers in special needs, as well as our ESOL.
Getting into Gear Up. So we are getting close to the end of our recruitment window, just because we do have some pertinent kind of classroom things that need to get started. But some basic information on Gear Up is it's kind of a at-risk based, school-based program. It's got an accelerated pace. That means essentially that students will be completing 8th grade and 9th grade credits at the same time, which would mean that once they get finished, they would be starting the 10th grade. With that being said, there is certain requirements that students must meet to be eligible for Gear Up. So one is age, so making sure that their birth date is before September 30th of 2010. That's one of the big things. Also being a retainee is also a factor. Attendance and other things kind of account for that consideration. If your student is eligible for that, or you think they may be eligible for that, reach out to me, or someone at the school can get you in touch with me to verify that. Hopefully, we need it sooner rather than later. And I say sooner, I mean, best would be tomorrow. In Gear Up, they do have different opportunities. They do get some Carnegie credits, which I know we're talking about later. And they also go on different field trips to kind of get more of a outside Gwinnett look at things. They go to different, like Gwinnett Tech, they go to the Maxwell High School of Technology. And another thing, and I consider it an opportunity, but there is a smaller class size that allows them more opportunities to kind of get a more one-on-one interaction with the teachers, just to kind of build those relationships better. And that allows them support, more opportunities for support if they need so.
Some celebrations. It's we're almost at 2 weeks into the school, but we already have a lot of great things that we want to celebrate with our 8th graders. First of all, they came in day one, just showing the leadership and modeling the great Mustang pride that we have in our school. First days of school, they knew where to go. They went straight to their classes and just right away began, exhibiting all of the behaviors that we wanted them to exemplify as 8th graders and leaders. We called them the seniors of the building. They were showing our newer Mustangs and our young new 6th graders to the building how to get around to classes and just being very helpful. But happening so far, we have begun day one with high quality instruction. Our teachers are really doing a great job of preparing our students to be successful this year by making them aware of all the expectations that are required and that are expected of them, and all the classroom procedures and routines. They're building really good relationships and community within the students in their classrooms. So you see a lot of team building going on in the classrooms that really help to make the lessons go really well, because we really do want our students to not only learn from the teachers, but learn from each other. So a lot of collaboration amongst the students is really needed to help them learn and attain the information. During our advisement times, we are doing like a first 21 days. And so our counselors are already on in the morning talking with our students about those character building characteristics for the school year. And then we are, as administrators, also helping to set the expectations for the school by doing our grade level expectation talks. We've already done our GCPS 13 rules. We're reviewing the school handbook just to make sure that everybody is on the same page about what makes Little Bern run well. Again, Dr. Irish already talked about the supplies and the Chromebook distribution. Every student should have that in hand already. And that supply kit was a nice kit of 32 pieces of items to help get the students started for this year. We had a really nice jamboree. Dr. Irish talked about that, where lots of folks came out. We had 9 different schools that participated. And it was just wonderful to see the excitement that the sports brings to the students. And so I'd just like to say, that's one of the things that'll help students do very well, to get involved, be a part of the sports, be a part of your clubs. Our volleyball team this week had a competition and won all 4 of their matches. And then our cross country team will be competing on Saturday. I think this is the first ever, right, Mr. Doyne? And so we'll be competing and looking forward to them winning. Just wanted to go over our daily schedule, and Mr. Brogdon, if you want to take it away on that one.
Yeah, so at the start of our day, kind of the office hours for teachers, be the 8:30 to 8:50 range. That's kind of when they're just getting in the building. Once students get in at 8:50, there's that homeroom time and academic support time that we have from 8:50 to 9:20. A lot of that is getting their breakfast, getting settled in, potentially charging Chromebooks, whatever it is to kind of get their day going. In that next block from that 9:20 to 10:10 is when we start our ELT. That is when we're going to be addressing different academic needs for a certain few, maybe some club time, different things in order to really push out the academic support that we may need in the building. Then we have a little built-in transition time into first academic. All of our academics run an hour except for the one around lunch. That includes the built-in lunchtime. So your child will transition to from class to class, go into academic one, whichever subject they may have and whichever team they may have, but that'll be one of their core subjects. So they'll do academic 1 and 2. We'll have lunch. And then for 8th grade, they go to connections. So from there, they transition, they get their connections, whether it be PE, business, maybe an academic support connection, band, orchestra, theater. And then they come back for the rest of the day and have academics 3 and 4 before they dismiss at 4 or 4:05.
All right, so we'll get into some of the academics. Mr. Brogdon and I had the opportunity to speak with the entire school. As I said before, we have an opportunity during that announcements and advisement time in the morning, and we've been doing a whole school handbook presentation, and this is the exact topic that Mr. Brogdon and I spoke about. And basically, we're highlighting all of the topics that dealt with instruction and all of the components that are in place to help our students be successful in their classes, to meet that 70 and above and meet promotion and set them up for, high school graduation. So if you can go ahead and move on, we talked about the finish line. This is where we want all of our students to get to, like this young fella here running through the tape. That is our goal for all of the students. And so we have lots of things in place for that to make that happen. First of all, we wanted to make the students aware of the promotion criteria. For promotion to 9th grade, students, just as in 6th and 7th, they have to pass 5 out of 6 subjects. And the key is language arts and mathematics. Those 2 subject areas must be passed both semesters. Also for 9th grade, there are some requirements for the Georgia milestones in the for reading and math. So for 8th graders, they must meet the achieve this level of above grade level or above for language. And then for the math, they must be in the area of developing or higher. Those 2 areas must be in those categories for them to meet promotion criteria. If they're not meeting those areas, as long as they have met that 70 or higher in their classes, then they will still be on track for promotion. In the event that the students don't have the criteria, we have for first semester failures, we have an AAP that will help them to regain those credits, and then for summer school, for students who failed in the 2nd semester.
Ms. Cooks?
Yes, sir.
Pardon me, there was one question, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Ms. Gibson's asking, I'm curious to know if summer assignments are going to be expected to be turned in. I set the expectation for my child to complete the assignments, but she stated that her teachers have not asked for the assignments. Any insight that you can provide?
Okay, so at this point, we are just doing our beginning of year expectation talks, and a lot of it, like I said before, is team building. However, there should be some graded assignments at this time. So I would just encourage you to reach out to your teacher. And that's one of the things we'll talk about today in terms of communicating and how you may be able to gain awareness about what's happening with your student. Okay. So again, in line with the grading, We want students to know and you all to be aware of the grading system that we have for Gwinnett County Public Schools. All of our assignments will be turned into a grade that's a letter grade. A 90 and above indicates excellent progress. An 80 to 89 will be above average. 70 to 79 is average progress. And we talked to our students and said, you know, really no one should be in this 0 to 69, which is unsatisfactory, because we do so much here at the school in terms of preparing the students and then supporting them when they're struggling. And so we said to them, if you're in this status, it's because you really want to, it's not because you have to be. If you're coming to school each day, because attendance is really important. If you're not only coming, but when you get there, you're participating, meaning doing the work, asking the questions, advocating for yourself when you don't understand. The teachers can't read your minds, but so if you're not understanding, right when you don't, you start to raise that hand and ask the questions so that you can gain help and not get behind. You go ahead, Dr. Irish. We also talked to the students about the weights of the assignments. All of the assignments do not carry the same weight. If you look at this chart here, we have courses that are placed into one of 6 categories. It's AKS Progress, Mastery. They have a district assessment, and that's where that grade goes in, a final exam, and some classes have performance exams. But everything pretty much rises and falls on that progress and mastery. And the progress are like those things that you're doing every day in the classroom, those quizzes, that classwork that you're turning in, the homework. The mastery encompasses more of those big unit tests that they have. But pretty much those 2 categories carry the weight of a student's grades. And you can see at the bottom how many expected grades we look to have in each of the categories. Anywhere from 15 to 18 per semester for progress, anywhere from 5 to 8 per semester for the mastery. We have 1 district assessment each semester and a district final each semester.
Excuse me, Ms. Cooks, there's another question.
Okay.
All right. Ms. Fermina is asking, I hope that the teachers put in the grades promptly. It's happened in the past where the teachers didn't put the grades in quickly. And then she says something else I don't entirely understand, but it's basically saying that she just hopes the teachers put the grades in quickly.
Okay. Thank you so much for
Go ahead.
that. I was going to go ahead, Dr. Irish, if you want to address. We do have some checks and balances in place for that. We do in our CLTs, we have some points in the semester and in the weeks where we just set aside times where we do that. We do a check for E-class to make sure that they are updated with the most current information that's being communicated to our families. And we do the same for the grades. In fact, we just did that this past Tuesday to just make sure that we're communicating just those concerns that you have. A lot of times it might be an assignment that may be a project, or it may be in language arts. It takes a little time for them to grade it. So if it's not like a multiple choice test, it may take a little bit of time to get it graded. It also may be that some of the assignments are over a period of time, and so they're waiting for all of the students to have completed it before they put the grades in. But the best thing to do, again, is if you have concerns about that, reach out to your teacher. They are the first line of communication on any question that you have about your student, whether it's academic, whether it's student conduct, anything, start with your teacher. And that's one of the things that Gwinnett County Public Schools, that's not a Lilburn thing, that is a Gwinnett County thing. Your first line of questioning is to your teacher, because they are with the students each and every day. They have the first, the best information about what's happening in the classroom each day.
There are a couple more questions, Ms. Cooks, if now is a good time.
Okay, if we can, we have some more information we'd like to get through, and we'll hold those questions. So I might be able to answer them as I'm going through, and Mr. Brogdon, as well as Ms. Berger, may have some more information that may answer that as we go through the PowerPoint.
Okay, yes, ma'am. So those of you that asked those questions, just remind us or remind me if we don't circle back to answer them.
Awesome. Mr. Brogdon, you want to take it away?
Yes, so as far as the academic support, I know it was mentioned that we really emphasize with our students staying in that 70 and above range. Some of the things that we have set up in place of that is different tutoring sessions. So tutoring sessions are going to be I think 8:10, 8:15 to the 8:50 mark for connections. That's on Tuesdays. Math and social studies on Wednesdays, and then language arts and science on Thursdays. And then, of course, if there's any like schedule conflict or timing conflicts, reach out to those teachers to see what they can make available. A lot of our teachers are pretty flexible in trying to accommodate different student and parent needs when it comes to this. We also have the MMIP, which is just a intervention program that we're using to kind of help catch up on any work. Essentially, we understand that with grades, obviously we need things like we need work samples, we need stuff to be turned in order to kind of have those grades and especially get those grades in on time. With that being said, so if your student is behind on some work, there is the opportunities for that for Saturdays. And then again, it's going to be for things like their projects or tests or, exams of papers, different things like that. And then that's just, again, to allow them the opportunity to kind of catch up on, work assignments that, maybe have been dragging or delayed. Now, if it is something where it's going to be like a test, making sure that they come multiple times, kind of get some of that reteaching before we jump straight into an assessment. We want to show mastery, there might be some reteach elements that would need to occur first before we just jump into retaking a test.
And I was just going to piggyback and say the difference between those two, these tutoring sessions are available at all times. So as soon as the student sees that they are struggling or don't understand, they want to go ahead and get into those morning sessions with their teachers. The MMIP program is really designed for students who have excessive work that's not been turned in. If they've been absent for a while or they have just not turned in the work. We want to get them here before they get to that failing status. And in the MMIP, they will probably be recommended by their teacher to attend this Saturday session. So this does not take place of the morning sessions. This is in place for the excessive or you are really, really in jeopardy of, reaching that failing status. MMIP is the support system for that. Okay, we can move forward. All right, so have on here, be on the lookout. Two big events that happen for our 8th graders beginning in January. We are finishing up middle school, but we're also kind of turning the page to get ready for high school. So two big things that we do in January, one of them is the high school selection, and the other one is Carnegie Unit Awards. So we want you to understand that, we have to choose between Meadow Creek or McClure. We are the feeder schools for those two high schools, but they also have an opportunity through application process to GSMST and to Paul Duke. And so we'll have some information about all of these opportunities, but we must make a decision on a high school. And it's an online process that the students will access through the portal and choose those high schools. And it's through the students, but we also want the families to be a part of this decision. And so our high schools will start sending out information directly to your home regarding the selection. They'll send information regarding opportunities to come to their open houses to get information about their schools so that you can make an informed decision about which high school you want to go to. Each of the schools have different pathways that will set them up for, towards things that they may be interested in terms of college or career. So you want to really pay attention to what those pathways are and make a decision on which high school you want to go to. But regardless of that, 23 credits are needed for high school graduation. And so starting in middle school, in 8th grade, Carnegie units in certain courses are approved to start getting those credits towards high school. Some of the ones that we have in middle school that are approved are ninth grade lit, which is really over in given in our Gear Up program. We have algebra concepts and connections, which is our enhanced math. Physical science, we have pretty much about 85 to 90% of our students enrolled in this science EOC version course, which so everybody in science automatically get this physical science Carnegie unit if they pass the course. We have some connection courses like tech ed courses and foreign languages that are also approved to get credits for high school. So again, you want to be aware of those and still make decisions about whether the students are going to take the credits. There are some decision making that you have to do to earn or have that credit awarded to high school. And again, that needs to be a family decision. And we'll have more information about that closer to the times that these are happening. But please be on the lookout for it. Again, because it is an online process, and then we want you to be able to go to those open houses to get as much information as you can about how to successfully navigate the process.
Excuse me, Ms. Cooks.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interject, but I think it would be a good time, and there's a couple of people that have mentioned this, to mention the other alternative high schools as well.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sure.
We have a lot of information that comes straight through you to GSMST and Paul Duke.
Yes, ma'am. So we do have GSMST, which is the Gwinnett School of Math, Science, and Technology. It is a school that some of our students are eligible to apply for. You do have to have, your student would have to have a certain level of mathematics by the time they're in 8th grade, and they have to achieve a certain level of achievement as well in those classes. Because of the nature of the demands of the school of Gwinnett School of Math, Science, and Technology, pardon, it's GSMST. The application for the lottery process for GSMST does come available in November, and it ends sometime in January. There will be 3 open houses at GSMST, one specifically for students who live in the Meadow Creek cluster. But if you go, I can put the link to the website there. You can start to research information about that in the and I see some people with their hands raised that I need to acknowledge. There'll be more information about that going forward. And before I go forward, I do see Ms. Berger and Dr. Irish with their hands raised.
Okay, and Ms. Berger was actually at the high school level, so she definitely can add to this conversation. I think it's exciting that we have such engagement around what's the next opportunity, because that's really what it's about. We do hold back on sharing out information because these are special entities, and sometimes dependent upon the prior year's interest, dependent upon how the students performed. Some of the criterion may change, so they ask us not to just send it out in advance. We typically wait for their guidance and for their timelines to share that out. But I think that's a great question. There are other options, and Gwinnett is doing a great job of coming up with new options consistently. But School of the Arts, Paul Duke STEM, McClure Health and Science, GSMST, there are other robust options for our students. Some are lottery based, some are really strict criterion that must be followed, and some we've seen it change year to year. And so they ask us just to wait and follow their lead on that. But what I do encourage you, if you go to Gwinnett County's website, you can find these special entity schools, and we'll work with Mr. Doyne to get that out to you all. And you can go to their website and then see real time, like their updates, their programs, and kind of keep up with the school that you believe you might be interested in, and see firsthand when that's published out. But as soon as we get it, we do a pretty good job of sending it right out. And there are set timelines, so we send it out to you. But Ms. Berger, I'm gonna pass it to you because I know you were actually at the high school level, so you may want to add to it.
Thanks, Dr. Irish, but you basically said what I was going to say. The other thing I want to add, though, is that they still have to choose, Meadow Creek as the default school, even if they're going to go try different programs. So when that time comes, parents, you are going to have to make a decision with your students' input, of course, on McClure or Meadow Creek, and then you can apply for the other things. And I just wanted to reiterate the GSMST that even when you meet the criteria, it is lottery based. So you definitely need to have a plan B and not just put all your eggs in one basket. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Berger, because we did have a few situations where we had to go and backpedal, but she's right. Make a decision on each of those high schools in case you do not get into those special entity schools. All right, we're ready to move on, Dr. Irish. And take it away, Mr. Brogdon.
Okay, so one of the big things that we have at Lowburn Middle School is PBIS, and this is a positive behavior intervention system. This is kind of a way that we can teach students how to teach and reward students how to kind of interact within our school. Our biggest thing is Mustang Pride, so our P stands for positive. We want a positive environment in the classroom and different settings throughout the school, respectful and, you know, again, throughout everywhere. That we want the students to have integrity, and we want them to be determined and engaged. So it might be a little difficult to see on the slide here, but each one of those terms has kind of an example of what that would mean throughout our school, whether it be in the cafeteria, whether it is in their classroom, whether it's with how they use technology, whether it's on the bus. All of these things can be kind of like a measuring stick for when we give out PBIS rewards. We have those coming up soon, and it's just a way to kind of acknowledge, reward the different students who are doing those things that we strive to see in students. Getting into that, so there is kind of a method that kind of interacts with our 6 discipline steps that was shown earlier. We have different things that is that kind of leads to that discipline referral. Dr. Burney, who is our discipline AP, she has kind of came up with this system. When it comes to it, we've talked about there's the 6 steps, the 5 before the red form, but we have minor behavior issue or minor behavior incidences that are kind of different things that you may see, like disruptions or disrespect, different things like that. But those repeated offenses can add up to that through that step system to that. And then we also have our majors, which are ones that basically just go straight to that referral process, whether it be fighting, etc. Trying to make sure I covered everything on that slide. There's a lot on there. I believe so. Is there anything else I left off on that, Cooks?
No, I
No.
think you did great job. Just, you know, this is our steps, and our students know all of this. This is something that we teach after we've taught our 13 rules, Gwinnett County rules, including the bus expectations. This is what we teach our students. So we're going through a progressive behavior system, and we really try to definitely lean towards the positive behavior. However, we are teaching, just like we teach the language arts, the math, science, and social studies, we also know that we have to teach behaviors. So with the first step is a verbal warning to the student to just let them know and be aware that they have violated a school rule. We reteach that expectation. The second step, we do the same thing, but then we apply an intervention, and then we're reaching out to the parents. That third step may then lead to a teacher detention. Fourth step, maybe an off teams, isolation. And then fifth step, we're getting to the discipline referral phase. So we've got a lot of things in place to help them not get to that phase. But it is, again, about learning and teaching the positive behaviors. And that's what we really do try to emphasize and celebrate, which the next page, I think, shows us how we try to encourage and support the students with those positive behaviors. We offer positive referral. Just like we give a referral for inappropriate behaviors, we do it for the positive behaviors. We call parents, we let them know how proud we are of the students making great decisions. And we give them Mustang bucks that they can use in our school store. They're able to earn synergy points from teachers, and that could lead up to being Mustang of the Month. So lots of things that we have in place for them, lots of awards and incentives to let students know that this is what we're emphasizing and want to showcase and reward them for the good things. Because 95% of our kids come to school each and every day, doing everything that their parents have sent them to school to do, which is to come and learn. And it's all about teaching and learning, and they do that. All right.
Okay, I don't know if you guys saw the big smile on my face when I saw my slide come up, but I am so excited to be able to talk to you parents as the 8th grade counselor. I love 8th grade. I make no bones about that. I love being an 8th grade counselor. I really look forward to talking to 8th graders and helping them. This is the transition grade, so I really enjoy that piece of it. First, you can go to the next intro slide. So I'm Miss Berger. This is my 2nd year at Lilburn, but I've been in Gwinnett about 12 years. 6 of those years were in the high school level, and prior to that, I was also an 8th grade counselor in Gwinnett. So I think I'm really primed to this audience, to this group of students. Next slide. So, and I want to talk to you directly as parents. I'm a parent of 2 young adults. I know Ms. Cooks is. So I've gone through this. So the top tip I can give you as a parent is that you have to be involved in your students' lives. They've done studies, and it's shown that when parents are involved, students get higher grades, their test scores are better, their attendance is better, they develop self-confidence at school and throughout life, just by you being really hands-on and involved in their school life. Next slide. So, I try to boil things down. I know we're trying to honor your time, so I try to make things really quick and easy. But some keys to success I wanted to point out. The first one is attendance. Attendance is the building block. If they're not here, and I'm sure you've heard this, if they're not there, they're not going to get the instruction. They're not, and a kid can be as smart as they can be. But if they're not there to get the instruction, to know how to take the test, how to pass the test, their grades aren't going to reflect that. So attendance is bottom line key. They have to be there. It impacts their success. It impacts their social emotional health. It impacts their future jobs, their future careers. Because coming to work every day, being there on time, that's one of those soft skills. And employers look for that. They want people who are dependable. And so your student has to start building that habit now. So attendance is key. Communication, I can't say enough about that. And I know our administrators talked about that. Communication is key. We need to hear from you. We need you to communicate. It's important that teachers hear from you. And I know sometimes it's easier to try on your cell phone, but in Gwinnett, our teachers don't have phones in their classrooms. So even if you were to make a call, there's going to be some time lag in terms of the teacher getting that call to respond. But if you shoot them a message on Parent Square or Parent View, they get it like that, and you're going to get a response much faster. So please communicate with your parents electronically, if preferable, email, Parent Square, Parent View. We need you. We need your face in the place. We need you at the school. We need your students to know that you're going to be at school. Trust me, when they know that you are going to show up or be involved, we've seen it, everything changes. The student will know my parents coming to a conference, and the day before or the week before, the day of, the behavior just changes. So just them knowing that you're going to be there has an impact on them. So we need to hear from you. We need you to communicate with the parents, with the teachers, with me, with administrators, and we need you to come. Academics, of course, that's understood. And Ms. Cooks talked in length about the promotion criteria. So academics is another building block that we need. The credits that, especially the Gear Up kids, those credits that they receive are gonna impact them in high school in such a positive way. To jump an entire year and some, because to be promoted from 9th to 10th grade, you need a minimum of 5 credits. Our Gear Up kids, most of them, if they pass their classes, can earn 7 credits. So that's a huge bonus for them to finish high school in 3 years and then start college or whatever programs they want to do. So academics is key, and you, of course, you are crucial to this whole thing being successful. We need your support, we need your involvement, we need your presence. Next slide. So as I said, attendance matters. I spoke to Ms. Nolan. We have an attendance counselor who is just on top of attendance every day. So she just provided some information on the importance of being at school. Kids who attend school regularly at the elementary level, they read well. By the end of 3rd grade, middle schoolers pass important courses. And then it goes on, the benefits, workers succeed in their jobs. As I said earlier, if you're there every day at your job, doing your job, you'll have success. So attendance matters. Next slide, please. So we talked about you and what we'd like you to do. So what we do as counselors, we provide social emotional learning. So we do those weekly lessons that Ms. Cooks talked about every morning. We're there doing advisement during ELT, which is their extended learning time. And we teach them about characteristics that are really key to being successful, to having great relationships, and to having good mental health. We teach them how to be safe. College and career, of course, that's a big piece of what I do for 8th graders. The 6th and 7th grade counselors do it at different levels. But for college and career, we expose them to various careers. We talk about college admissions, definitely high school programs. I do a huge lesson in the spring where we talk to them about developing their individual graduation plan. So your student, by the end of 8th grade, will know that it takes 23 credits to graduate from high school, and it takes this amount of credits in this area, that area. They will have that knowledge as they leave Lilburn Middle School and go on to high school. So they'll leave knowing this information. Academic success, we reward, just as Ms. Cook said, we reward students. We give them Mustang bucks. We also teach them about time management and organization. We do test-taking prep. We provide resources called response to intervention. Another thing is it's Kid Talks or SSTs. That's where students who are struggling academically and are identified by the student or parent, we assemble a team to help that student to meet the criteria and standards. Leadership and extracurricular activities, that's key. I always tell my 8th graders, you gotta start building your resume now from middle school, because when you finish high school or you're finishing up and you wanna apply to colleges, you have to show them that you're a well-rounded student and that it's not just academics, that you've been involved in clubs, that you've taken part in sports, that you've done projects around your school or community. I also run a peer leadership group. We have a very vibrant student council group within Lilburn. So there are lots of opportunities for your students. at our school to not only excel academically, but to do other things to make them a well-rounded student as they move forward into post-secondary education. Next slide. So we talked about the social emotional, the counselor coordinated program. So as I said, we do peer leadership. We've got the social emotional learning programs in the morning. We've got the high school planning. We do different things as mentioned. We also do Mustang Champion of the Month, and that's where we recognize those students who have been identified to exhibit Mustang Pride. That's just a picture of me and my last year group of peer leaders at one of the district conferences. So as Dr. Irish mentioned, we try to expose our students to the outside world and to different experiences. Next slide, please.
Ms. Berger, can I just do a quick plug for the career fair?
Sure.
That if you have time in your schedule, then when the information comes out, we would love to have you present to our students. You know, we're trying to give them the exposure to as many different fields and professions as possible. Just reach out to Mrs. Berger, and we would love to have you. So just putting that out.
Okay. All right. So we have what's called a comprehensive counseling program. We do individual and small groups, and we also do classroom guidance. So we see students on different levels. During the course of the day, a student can request to see me or their counselor. We're also going to start small groups this year dealing with literacy and identifying students who struggle with their reading scores. So we'll do small groups, and then we go into the classroom and teach study skills, conflict resolution, career exploration, and we also do teen lures. Next slide. Okay, we talked about the social emotional. I want to get the next slide, please, Dr. Irish. Okay, and again, some more details about social emotional. There's 5 categories: self-management, which is my personal favorite, because they have to learn how to manage themselves as they go through life. We do social awareness, help them with relationship skills, decision-making, and self-awareness. Next slide. And we do that through a program called Character Strong, which is really good in terms of showing videos and giving activities and different ways to get the points across on the different topics that we cover. Next slide. All right, so I'm going to say this again. I know it's apparent, but we are a team. We are a team, and the team is 3 entities. The school, Lilburn Middle School, our student, we both share that student, and you, the happy parent. We're that team, and we need to be a team together so that your student can be successful. Next slide. So this is how the teamwork is going to garner success for your students. Just a few tips. We need you to attend conferences, or we need you to attend the fan night that's coming up. We need you to be there. So please, we have parent conferences in October. I think Dr. Irish mentioned the 23rd and the 24th, and then fan night is September 26th. So please make an effort to be there. Even if your student's doing well, just you showing up to talk to the teachers, get to know them, that'll go very far. And then if you can't make that, you can schedule a conference. You can schedule an appointment. You can take the initiative, reach out to the teacher, schedule an appointment with that teacher or with the team. If you want to schedule an appointment with the team, you can reach out to me and I'll get in touch with the lead teacher and schedule a conference for you. But that is, one of the things that you can do to schedule an appointment. And make sure we can contact you during the day. That's important. Anything can happen, things happen. but we need a current working number for you so that we can reach out to you when we need to. Next slide, almost done. I want to give you some other tips. Next slide, please. So just some quick tips for the home. As the year is still beginning, we got a clean slate, just some things you can implement now so that we can reap the benefits in the future. There's got to be a study area in your home where your student goes to do their studying or homework, and try your best for it not to be the bedroom or their bed. Find an area, the kitchen table, if you have a study or if you have somewhere that, okay, this is where you're gonna do your homework or studying. It's gotta be well lit, clean, quiet. Develop a routine. And your student can help you with this. Okay, what's a good time you're gonna study every day? Or what's a good time for you to do your homework every day? So and it should be in the same area, repetition, same area for studying and same time. Be available. Even if, and most of us don't understand the math and how they do it and all that stuff. I get that. But even if you can say, if your kid's like, well, I don't understand this, you can say, read the instructions to me. And just by them reading it, you could help them and say, okay, this is step 1, that's step 2. But be available so that they can track their assignments. Did you do this? Did you do that? Just by you asking them will make them stay on top of it more. Check the class websites, please. Teachers put everything on the websites. They put what they're gonna talk about, they put what assignments are coming up, what tests are coming up. Make it a habit to always check the teachers' websites. When my kids were young, back then it was Parent Portal, and I would go on Parent Portal and come to them, print it up and say, hey, what about this, this, this? And that would shock them into doing whatever it is they hadn't done. So you have to show them, hey, I know how to access the information. So check the teacher's websites. Try to limit the screen time. Encourage more personal one-on-one interactions, and make sure they have enough sleep and a healthy diet. Next slide, please. I'm wrapping it up. I know we're past time. The secondary tip, and I wanted to leave this with you because it's very important. Set expectations, and I think this was mentioned. Set goals. Discuss your expectations with your child. Set a joint goal. It could be as basic as you're gonna meet promotion criteria and attend high school. That's the goal. You're gonna meet it and you're gonna attend high school. But just saying it out loud, let them know, keep talking to them, let them know you have expectations of them, and I promise you, they'll rise to meet those expectations. And secondly, explain how important this year is to their future success. This is the building block, and they have to start now. We can't wait till March. We can't wait till April to go, I want to go to high school. We have to start now. So they have to begin now to build their future success into high school. And they have to understand that all actions are going to affect the outcome of their goals, whether it's a positive or negative. So please, start talking to them now. Tell them how important it is for them to be promoted from middle school into high school and to meet the promotion criteria. And that's it. Glad I was able to get through most of the information. Please feel free to reach out to me. I enjoy this work, and I enjoy getting people help and making sure that the kids are successful. And that's it for me. Thank you.
A lot of great information. Thank you so much. Dr. Irish, go ahead. I had one more little thing that we were going to talk about in terms of the fun stuff that we have for students, if we have a minute.
Okay, is it, you want me to continue with the slides, or is
Yes,
it?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It's just, you can just do that one. We just want to talk about the little fun, make parents aware that there may be a little bit of a fee that's involved to help make this fun happen for our students. But actually, Ms. Richardson is on the call and she's going to talk to us. We try to put a few things together. We know that this is 8th grade and the final year of their middle school. So we try to put together some things that to help it make it memorable. And make it fun for their last year. So Ms. Richardson is going to talk to us a little bit about some of the things that we do in 8th grade.
Hi, everyone. Just really quickly, like Ms. Cook said and Mr. Doyne said in the chat, there is an 8th grade formal toward the end of the school year where students are able to get dolled up and have fun and party with their peers one last time before they go off to high school. We have also had 8th grade days in the past where they can just hang out and play games all day. And last year, we were actually able to take them to main event. So they were able to go play laser tag and different arcade games and go bowling for a few hours. And we just try to really make their last year of middle school as memorable as possible. So we just try to have a lot of fun with them before they go on to more ventures.
And so some of those pictures are there showing some of the things we did. That cannon there is a picture from a field trip that we took to Kennesaw State Mountain. It aligned with the Civil War unit, but the students got to kind of see and, close up a lot of the artifacts that were from the Civil War, and they had a wonderful time up there spending the day there. But you can go to the next slide, Dr. Irish. Again, we have those upcoming events. Students are able to have fun by designing a t-shirt that they will wear, and they wear that on that 8th grade day. And we have them march to the school, and it's like their graduation. All of the students stand out in the hallway and cheer them on as they are leaving 8th grade. So it's an exciting time. And again, that formal is a big hit each year. But we do have some 8th grade dues that help us towards making those fun things happen. We have food, we have catered food. So it takes money to do that. So look out for a flyer from our 8th grade captains that will let you know how much it will be and when those payments will be due and how to get it paid. That's it, Dr. Irish.
Do you need a?
Nope, we're done. That's just kind of reiterating the things that it's paid for. And Ms. Richardson talked about main event, which was a first time for us. We usually do the 8th grade day or fun days on our campus, but we loaded up, I think it was about what, 8 buses, Ms. Richardson? About 8-10 buses.
Yeah, there was
off all the way up to north part of the county. And they had a day full of fun, pizza, hours of playing at main event. It was fun.
Okay. And I know we loosely use the word graduation. Gwinnett County wants us to say promotion.
Promotion,
But we
yes.
do want our students to feel very special because they are, and it's just really neat to watch the other students just look at them like one day I'll be walking, in your shoes. And our students just rising to the occasion. I've heard so many positive comments from teachers, from guests, from students, that the students this year in 8th grade are phenomenal. So we are so impressed with the work that you have done as parents to help to prepare our students for this stage. We know that our kids have been through a long road after COVID, and we are seeing the fruits of your labor, the labor of their prior year of school. It's just really all coming together, and so we're so excited about the year to come. I'm looking at the time, and we're about 2 minutes after the well, a little bit more than 2 minutes, but we're 2 minutes after 7:30. And we know that dinner has to be made. We know that other things have to be done, and we want to respect your time. We typically promise 1 hour, but I know that there was a lot of information to be shared. From what I understand, we do have a PTSA member who may want to say something to help sign us off. Is that
I think maybe Rafaela. I saw
Rafaela?
Lesbia. I thought Miss Rosie was on the meeting. The all of 8th graders.
Okay. If we have a PTSA member, we have 78 remaining families, that we can speak with. So do you want to unmute and say anything?
Buenas tardes, ¿me escuchan?
Sí, buenas
Yes.
tardes, Lesbia. Good
Buenas
evening.
tardes,
Good
mucho
afternoon,
gusto.
Lesbia.
Les saluda Lesbia González. Soy la tesorera de la Asociación de Padres, Maestros y Alumnos de este año. Feliz y contenta de participar en la asociación.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm proud to represent the school in the Parent Teacher Student Association this year.
Quiero agradecerles por participar en esta primera reunión de octavo grado, que es súper importante.
I want to
Y
thank you for participating in this
invitarles
very-
además que se involucren en la asociación.
and
Es la oportunidad de estar conectados con la escuela y
Go for it, Dwayne.
de estar involucrado con la escuela y los maestros. Les invito a que sean parte y miembros de la asociación con un aporte simbólico de $8 o participando voluntariamente en las diferentes actividades.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez.
Just thanking everybody for participating in this very important.
Les agradezco y les
He's in the Spanish room, that's why.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, guys, we're in two different language rooms at one time, so we apologize for the confusion. She was thanking us
Sí, sí.
for. Ms. Gonzalez, are you there?
I don't know if she can hear
Sí,
us.
mi hija está en octavo grado
She can't hear
y
us.
estamos muy
Sorry.
contentos por todo. Sí,
Okay, so she's having conversations with those in the
Okay.
Spanish room,
Interpreter,
but
yeah.
we can overhear it. So maybe what we'll do is, Dawn, you can just speak
muy bien.
más alta.
Um,
Maybe that might
yeah,
just speak more loudly than her and in this room, and then I think we can hear.
I think she got the message, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Gonzalez Torres,
Okay.
for what you do. She's just asking everybody, thanking everybody for participating and asking everybody to join the PTSA, even if it's just to join with $8, but to be involved in your child's education, as we heard from Ms. Berger and others.
Yes. Okay. And Ms. Gonzalez, along with the other PTSA members, we have a great PTSA. They are planning some awesome events for our school and our students. We would love to have all parents participate in some form or fashion. They do have plans to ask for volunteers, and we know that you are busy. So just consider giving some talent, some time. We would love to have you. Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. At this time, I'm looking, we're now 6 minutes
Mucho
beyond.
gusto y buenas
7:30.
noches a todos. Éxitos para todos.
Okay, so they're in the, all right, so what we're gonna do is close out. So families, if you don't have any additional questions, have a wonderful night, and hopefully there was some information that was beneficial to you. If you still have ongoing questions, maybe we tried to answer it in the chat or we did not see it in the chat, please email any one of the presenters, including myself and Mr. Doyne, and we will get the answers to you. But we do appreciate you and 8th grade family. We normally sign out by having someone count down. So do we have someone? I don't know who the first person. We never got that information, did we? Or we need a brave volunteer. We need a brave volunteer, someone who can unmute and help us to end our session for tonight.
I can.
Okay, what's your name?
Samisha.
Venetia?
Samisha.
Vanisha. Okay, well, Vanisha, the way we close out is that you count down from 10. That gives any people who are wanting to ask one last minute question the chance to do that. And if you get to 1, then we say good night, and then we end the call. So keeping with that tradition, we're going to let Venetia close us out.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yay, and everybody gets real excited when she gets to 1. Yay. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you, Venetia, for being a brave soul. If you tell us the name of your student, we will get you a thank you gift for helping to close this out. And once again, we appreciate you. We could not have a great school without you. We can tell what you're doing with your students. Have a wonderful night. Get some rest, and we will see you the next time. And thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. I don't know if she can hear me. Have a great night.
Buenas noches, sí, muchas gracias.
I'm gonna turn off the
Igualmente.
interpretation. And and Miss Kirk put her twins' names in the chat there.
Yeah, Amore and Kamora Matthews.
Okay, okay.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
I just turned interpreters. I just turned off the interpretation. So thank you.
Okay, so
Bye-bye.
we're all in one room. This was a great conversation.
Very
Thank
welcome.
you, eighth grade team. A lot of thoughts swirling around about choices and May. And maybe we can, I know they host sessions over at, various locations, but maybe we can organize something since it seems like we have a lot of interest.
I agree.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm still getting there. So
Thank you, Ms.
questions.
Richardson. I put Ms. Richardson on the spot and she was ready to go.
Oh, I
Okay.
couldn't tell. I thought she practiced that all day. Sounds
You're welcome.
The leadership opportunities.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. I
Yes,
texted her, I said, you ready? She was like, yes.
I can do it.
Awesome. As we know she can.
All
All
right,
right.
guys.
Well, I'm
I'll
gonna
see
go
you
ahead
guys.
and let you all go. I know Mustangs, y'all have an early morning. Have a great night.
Okay.
Bye.
And Dwayne, I don't see any new questions, so I think it's safe to end the call and then we can follow up. We can all touch base tomorrow and see who needs more information.
All right.
Have a
Good
great
night,
evening.
everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
The fee
Hold
for
on.
somebody's asking about the main event. Last year it was a $50 total were the eighth grade dues. So the $50 covered the fee for the main event.
Yeah, t-shirts, main event, and eighth grade day.
Though that was $50 last year. Prices have been going up across the board, all over the place. So I don't think there's a guarantee that it'll still be $50 this year, but we'll see.
Good night, guys.
Good night, Ms. Berger. Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome. Bye.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll end it. Or you all can end it too. Okay. Good night.